The sound of rain pouting against the apartment window matched the rhythm of Sarah's typing as she stared at her computer screen. Another rejection email glowed back at her, the fourth this month. She pushed back from her desk, the chair wheels squeaking against the hardwood floor, and closed her eye. 6 months ago, Sarah had been laid off from her marketing position during company-wide cuts. What she thought would be a quick transition to a new role had stretched into a grueling job search filled with unanswered applications and painful near misses. Each rejection chipped away at her confidence. "Maybe I'm just not good enough," she whispered to the empty room. Her savings were dwindling, and the weight of uncertainty pressed down on her shoulders. That evening, while scrolling mindlessly through her phone, Sarah paused on a post from her former colleague Miguel. "Sometimes the universe has better plans than we do. Just landed my dream job after 103 applications and 8 months of searching. Keep going." The number struck her. 103 applications. She had only submitted 37. The next morning, Sarah woke with a new perspective. She wasn't failing. She was still in the middle of her journey. She created a small ritual. Before sending each application, she placed her hand over her heart and whispered, "This one or something better." Week after week, she refined her approach. She joined online communities in her field, volunteered her skills for a local nonprofit to fill the gap on her resume, and reached out to her network for informational interviews. With each connection and each application, she was building resilience and expanding her horizons. Application number 68, she noted in her journal one Tuesday morning. The position was at a smaller company than she'd previously considered, but their mission to support sustainable businesses aligned with values she'd never had the opportunity to pursue professionally. When the call came inviting her to interview, Sarah felt a flutter of hope. During the interview, instead of trying to be what she thought they wanted, she showed them who she truly was, someone who had faced setback, but had used it as fuel to grow. "We've dozens of qualified candidates," the hiring manager told her at the end of their conversation, "but none with your combination of skills and perspective. Sometimes the most valuable experiences are the ones that don't look like successes on paper." 2 interviews later, Sarah received an offer. The salary was slightly lower than her previous position, but the role offered flexibility, growth potential, and purpose that her former job had lacked. As she accepted the position, she realized that her period of unemployment hadn't been a detour. It had been the path itself. 3 years later, Sarah sat across from Jamie, a young designer who had joined her team after being laid off from his first job out of college. "I don't know how you did it," Jamie said, stirring his coffee. "Building this department from scratch, always staying positive, even when projects fall through. I feel like I'm still reeling from my layoff 6 months ago." Sarah smiled. "Can I tell you something? That period of unemployment was one of the most valuable experiences of my life. Not because it was easy, it wasn't. There were days I couldn't get out of bed, but it taught me that my worth isn't tied to my job title or salary." She continued, "It forced me to redefine success on my own terms. I discovered that resilience isn't about avoiding failure, it's about how you respond to it. Every rejection was redirecting me here, to this company, this role, this team." Jamie nodded slowly. "I'm still working on believing that my layoff wasn't a reflection of my value." "That's exactly it," Sarah said. "We're taught to see success as a straight line upward, but real growth looks more like a spiral. You revisit the same challenges at different levels. The question isn't whether you'll face setbacks, you will. The question isn't whether you'll face setbacks, you will. The question is whether you'll let them define you or refine you." As Sarah drove home that evening, she thought about how different her life would have been if she'd landed one of those first jobs she'd applied for. She wouldn't have discovered her talent for building teams from the ground up. She wouldn't have found a workplace that aligned so perfectly with her values. She wouldn't have developed the confidence that comes from rebuilding yourself. Her phone rang. It was her mother. "How was your day?" her mother asked. "Good. I was just thinking about how sometimes the best things in our lives come from what initially seem like failures." Her mother chuckled. "Reminds me of when you were learning to walk. You fell down hundreds of times, but you never once thought, maybe walking isn't for me. You just kept getting back up." Later that night, Sarah added a new entry to the journal she'd started during her unemployment. "The true measure of strength isn't in never falling, but in rising every time we fall. Our greatest power is not in avoiding difficulties, but in transforming them into stepping stones. Every rejection redirects us to where we're meant to be. Every setback carries the seed of an equal or greater comeback. The key is to keep moving forward, one step at a time, with faith that our journey is unfolding exactly as it should." Today, help someone see their own strength. She closed her journal and looked out at the city lights. The path hadn't been straight or easy, but it had been hers, and that made all the difference. Sarah's story reminds us that our lowest moments often contain the seeds of our greatest growth. The detours, disappointments, and delays that seem to be taking us off course may actually be guiding us to where we need to be. Each of us will face our own version of Sarah's journey. We'll apply for opportunities that don't materialize. We'll start projects that fail. We'll face rejection and redirection. The question isn't whether these challenges will come, it's who we'll choose to become in response to them. In the end, our most powerful stories aren't about success without struggle, but about how we rise strong after falling. It's about how we gather our courage, confront our stories, and rewrite our endings. It's about recognizing that sometimes our greatest contributions to the world come not despite our challenges, but because of them. Sarah continued to build on her experiences, eventually developing workshops to help others navigate career transitions with resilience and purpose. Standing at the threshold of each new challenge, Sarah now carried the quiet confidence of someone who knew that every ending contained within it the seeds of a new beginning. The journey continued, and she was ready.